Spiral: The Book of Saw has been released, but does the 9th movie in this franchise breathe new life into it? Or should this franchise be left alone to die? What's going on, you horror hounds? My name is Oak Crawford, and here on this channel we talk everything movies, so if that interests you, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. Now with the intro crap out of the way, let's talk about Spiral: The Book of Saw. Detective Zeke Banks, played by Chris Rock, and his partner take lead of an investigation into these very gruesome murders that are very similar to the city's troubled past. Unwittingly entrapped in a deepening mystery, Zeke finds himself at the center of this killer's morbid game. Let's first start off with the positives I thought of this movie. First off, I thought Chris Rock did a really amazing job in this movie. I thought that he wasn't miscasted whatsoever. I love it when actors or directors can kind of switch up this genre that they're known for. We've seen it with Jordan Peele and John Krasinski, where they kind of switch from comedy to horror movies, and Chris Rock has followed a very similar path. Now, I think it's very inspiring when actors do this. It kind of shows that they're not really typecasted into one genre. They're kind of a Swiss Army knife, you know, they're capable of doing many things, and I love it when actors are able to do this. It shows that they're truly a great actor regardless of whatever genre that they're playing in. Chris Rock definitely carries the movie. I love seeing him as this stern, macho detective. I think it's a very nice change of pace for him. Also, Samuel Jackson is in this movie, so that's awesome. I love Samuel Jackson. He definitely has some awesome scenes, even though he's in the movie for like 12 minutes. I think he's a really good addition to this franchise. I wish he would do a lot more horror movies, and we get a really cool classic Samuel Jackson F-bomb in this movie, so that's a plus.
You wanna play games, motherfucker?
This is for sure the best looking Saw film I've ever seen. There's definitely a way bigger budget for this compared to the other movies, and it definitely shows. The cinematography is definitely fantastic. It's color graded beautifully. There's this awesome long tracking shot with Chris Rock and his partner that for a camera nerd like me is super cool to see. It's definitely awesome seeing these very talented camera operators display exactly how talented they are. Now, I did like that Spiral kind of went back to the Saw roots. You know, it went back to this movie just kind of being a straight up investigation movie about these two detectives just trying to crack this case about this crazy killer setting up these really gruesome, intense traps. It kind of reminded me of Law and Order or CSI or the movie Seven. It definitely gave me those type of vibes. And I'm thankful they haven't reverted back to their torture porn phase, you know? I bet that's the first time you ever heard that term being used to describe these movies. I feel like every person who reviews Saw definitely calls it like, you know, torture porn. And it definitely went into that era of torture porn from like 2005, 2010. You know, these movies are being pumped out every single year. I'm definitely glad that Spiral doesn't fall into that category, because that era of Saw movies was just absolutely terrible, and I'm glad to say that this movie definitely changes up from that a lot. And unfortunately, that's about it for the positives I have for this film. Now let's get into the negatives. A huge negative for me was in fact the traps. We get about 5 traps in this film, and I liked only one of them. I just thought the traps were extremely underwhelming. There was nothing that really wowed me or made me think, whoa, that was really creative. I did like the fact that they actually had an opportunity to escape the traps, even though they would get completely mutilated if they did escape. The Jigsaw copycat was nice enough to give them an option, because in the other movies, I just felt like people had, you know, no choice of getting out. They were just gonna die regardless of what they tried to do. Now, there's 2 things that people come to these movies for. They come for cool traps and a really cool twist ending. That's what you expect in these Saw films, and Spiral, unfortunately, didn't execute either one of those very well. Now, within like the first 15 minutes of this movie, I whispered over to my girlfriend, I was like, that person over there seems pretty suspect. I think they're the mastermind behind all this, and I ended up being right. Just the fact alone that it was so easy to predict who the copycat killer was kind of ruined the ending for me a little bit. I just felt as if Spiral was extremely predictable, and it didn't really interest me enough to make me stand on the table and demand the studio to release more Saw sequels. Now, I just don't see the point of creating more sequels to the Saw franchise. I just think this franchise is kind of done. I don't know what else they can really do with it. It seems like the franchise is just running around in circles. They're kind of just repeating the same things they've already done before. And this movie just didn't really do much for me. It just felt very average. It wasn't bad, it wasn't good. It just was very middle of the road for me. This isn't something you need to go rush out and see. I think you can kind of wait for it to get on Netflix or DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, and you can kind of see it there. I don't think this is worth going out and spending, you know, $12 to go see. I'm going to give Spiral a 7 out of 10. Now that's going to do it for this review. Thank you for watching. If you like horror movies, remember to hit that subscribe button. I have a lot more reviews coming on the way, and I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Peace.